Good afternoon. This is Fight for Flight. You can watch us on YouTube. You can listen in on Spotify. You can follow along on your favorite social media platforms. I'm your host, David Hobson, and however you may be listening, I appreciate you making us a part of your day. Hey everybody, I want to begin by extending a huge congratulations to Isaac Robinson and Evelina Salonen for winning the 2024 Disc Golf World Championship. It was absolutely amazing. The week of disc golf was super exciting. I was on the edge of my seat for much of it, especially for the FPO portions, and we're going to get into why that is a little later in the show. But if you were watching, as I was, I'm sure that you know that Isaac and Evelina experienced very different journeys this week on the way to their world titles. And we're going to discuss that. We're going to talk about their specific games, things they did well, things they didn't do well, and then also big changes coming up for New London Tech. If you're not aware, New London Tech is one of the courses used this weekend for the Disc Golf World Championship, and is going to be undergoing a redesign. We're going to cover what's happening, the contingency plans, and then also what this means going forward for one of disc golf's most popular courses. And then, as you know, this show is the first show for Fight for Flight. And I'm super excited about it. I'm very excited to take you through what we're going to be doing. So I'm going to take a few minutes and tell you about the way that Fight for Flight is going to impact the disc golf world over the next couple of decades. And then I'm also going to get to reveal my very unique background and my experiences in the world and around the world of professional sports. And then I'll tell you the weird way that I discovered disc golf, or maybe disc golf found me. I really, really appreciate the game. It's been absolutely phenomenal. And so without further ado, let's just jump right into this. Isaac Robinson, what a show he put on this week. As I watched him, I never felt like he was not in control of this tournament. It was just always Isaac throwing great shots, playing with confidence, putting well. He was almost so good that it was boring to watch. That was the amazing part of it. It was like Kristen, when Kristen's playing well, you're just kind of like, yeah, another shot in the fairway, another shot in the circle, and another putt goes in. And that was basically Isaac Robinson's week. He was in the lead the entire time, but I think that he only shared the lead for maybe 3 or 4 holes of the entire tournament, which is a feat, a really impressive feat in today's MPO field. Today's MPO field is stacked. I looked at the top 15 finishers last night and thought, man, this is exactly who I expected to be there for the most part, and it's just a stacked field. So kudos to Isaac Robinson for just coming out and dominating a field full of superstars. I thought it was awesome to see him go back-to-back. Not very many people have done this, and he joins a very short list. I just thought it was an amazing exhibition of disc golf and throwing the disc well, spinning it the way he's supposed to spin it, and the angle control was insane. I just thought that he was never not in control of what was happening out on the course this weekend, and I thought it was amazing. And then if we shift over and we talk about Evelina, very different rounds. She had some rounds where she struggled off the tee. She had rounds where she struggled on the putting green. There was just a lot of up and downs. If you watch the FPO, the leader kept flipping, right? So Holland was in control pretty much through the first 4 rounds. And then in that final round, there were a lot of leader switches throughout the round. So Holland was leading, Evelina was leading. At one point, Kat Murch was leading. It was just unbelievable. There were bogeys, there were double bogeys, there were birdies, 2 and 3 shot swings. It was just amazing and very exciting, but it was just very volatile. And Evelina basically emerged victorious from the chaos. And I thought good on her for doing that. It's very difficult when things are not going well to be able to kind of keep your cool and keep a good mental state, or at least a mental state that is good enough to get the job done. And I just wanted to say congrats to her again. This is a big deal. It's not only a big deal because she won the World Championship, but it's also a huge deal because the World Championship is going to be held in Finland next year. So she's a Finnish player that won the FPO. She's going to be defending her title at home. And I think that is a huge story. It's going to be awesome. It's going to add a little spice to the FPO World Championships in 2025. Just really, really excited about that. Then I want to take a moment and talk about I think, the greatest female disc golfer to ever play this game. And when I watched Kristen this weekend, I did not see the dominant Kristen that we saw in the past couple years. It was just very different. She's been through a lot this year. I want to say that sometimes it's difficult. We think that, it's easy to just come out. We're just playing a game. We're just going to show up and do our thing each time. The fact of the matter is that life affects you. Athletes are people. They're just like us. They're doing their thing. She's been through a lot this year. So she had an injury that took her out for a good portion of the season. And sometimes when you're not really able to do your typical thing and kind of get comfortable throughout the season, it really affects your confidence and affects the way that you play. And I thought that she did a great job of coming back. She had a couple of wins, but the fact of the matter is she still missed a really large part of the season. And she was still able to come back and just play her game. But I thought one of the things that really impressed me as I was looking at her game this week is simply that she absolutely went after the field and just played her game the entire time. I felt like during the final day, the people on the lead card, they were playing each other. They weren't playing the course. There was a lot of very defensive shots. There were a lot of very toned down shots because they're just match playing each other. Kristen did not do that. Kristen's trying to score. And if you know Kristen, you know that she does not match play very often. She'll match play on the last 2 holes of a tournament, maybe. But she's just aggressive. She just goes out. She knows the shot she's supposed to throw. She throws that shot. And that really paid off for her because everybody else was kind of jockeying for position. And meanwhile, Kristen's on the chase card. She's just climbing. Put together a great final round and ended up taking home a podium finish. Finishing third from where she was after the first 2 or 3 days is a crazy feat. I wouldn't give any other player a chance to do that. But we were still talking about, and I think the broadcasters also were still talking about, is Kristen going to mount a comeback? And she's on the back 9. She's on the back 9 and she's 7 shots back. They're talking about whether or not she can do it because that's just a testament to her greatness. We know what she can do. We know she can go low. And if she gets hot, it's over. And so I just thought it was amazing kind of exhibition of her mental fortitude to understand, hey, I'm not playing well this week. In reality, I think she only had maybe 2 good rounds out of the 5 and still podium finished. And that's the greatness of Kristen Tatar. So I just wanted to comment on that. What a great show that we saw from her, and what a way to fight your way back. Just claw your way back and wheel your way into a podium finish. What a great opportunity for all of us to look at this and learn something from that as amateurs. Hey, it doesn't matter if it's going well at the beginning. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. And I think Kristen put that on showcase this weekend. When I started looking at Holland Hanley, this was a very different thing. I'm telling you, I had my aviators on. The whole tournament, man, I thought Holland is going to take this thing down. I thought this for a couple of reasons. The first thing was the confidence that she was playing with. Holland had a swag through the first 4 rounds that I had not seen in a while. I'm talking about, it was epic. One confident shot after another. It was incredible. One great putt after another. She has really big distance, and she has a very good forehand. And those things put together, along with being one of the best putters on tour when she's hot, is just insane. And I thought for sure she was going to take it down. And as I was watching the back 9 on the final day, it was just a very interesting, weird thing that happened. That confidence had started wavering. And I think that was primarily just because that she went OB so many times in the front 9 and was just scrambling the entire round. And that's a really tough thing to deal with as a competitor. And trust me, I deal with that. And when I play sometimes, discs are not going where you want them to go. And so I thought that I saw the confidence kind of shake. Kat Mertz leading the tournament at some point, I thought, this is insane. Is Kat Mertz going to win the world title? It was so unexpected to me, but it was must-see disc golf. The ladies know how to keep this thing interesting. There's a lot of volatility, and I think that's great for viewership, and I really enjoy watching FPO because anything can happen in FPO, and I really think that's really cool. One thing I wanted to mention as well are players that didn't make it out to Lynchburg this weekend, and one of those players is Cole Redolin. Cole Redolin withdrew from the World Championships before it started due to an injury. And this is what he had to say on Facebook. I'm just going to read this to you guys. He says, "Hi, everyone. Over the last couple months on tour, I slowly started developing a left hip injury. I've done a lot of treatment and things to help recover, but unfortunately, if I were to injure it anymore, it would require surgery. If it was something I could play through, I definitely would. However, the recovery time could be much worse if I did anything further. So he withdraws. He's obviously taking care of his health. We love watching Cole. I know I love watching Cole when he's healthy, and we wish him a very speedy recovery. Also, in the middle of the tournament, Matt Oram and Brody Smith withdraw in the middle of the tournament. Not sure what was going on with Matt. I'm sure it was something physical. These are long courses. This just beats your body up, and this is at the end of a season. And so I think sometimes you can really feel the wear and tear there. Obviously, Brody withdrew due to a bee allergen. I think he got stung by some bees and ended up having a little bit of a medical issue. But we wish them both a speedy recovery. Wish them well. Can't wait to see them back out on the course. And then let's talk about the elephant in the room here. Evelina Salonen putted worse in the final 2 rounds than I've ever seen anyone putt. And I'm not saying that she putted well for the tournament, but it was just really, really hard to watch. And I don't want to be disrespectful whatsoever to her. She played an insane tournament. She won a world title, and there's something to be said for that. But I pulled a few stats. She was only 62% C1X, which ranked 40th. I want to say that again. It ranked 40th in the FPO field. So she won a world title, putting 62% in C1. Also, she only putted 9% in C2, which ranked her 36th in the field. And so it's just a testament to her game. It's a testament to how great she can be off the tee, that she can play that well and putt that badly. And it's a very interesting thing. We saw her struggle putting last year. It was really hard to watch last year. And then earlier this year, I thought that she honestly turned it around. Putts started going in. I saw confidence there. I don't know exactly what happened. I don't know if it's just nerves or what's going on. But sometimes in the final round there, she would miss a 15-footer and then hit a 35-footer. We could never figure out what was going on. But I just think it's amazing. I also think it's also a testament to the fact that putting does not win championships. And we can say this. I know this is highly controversial. I grew up in a golf family, so everybody's talking about driving's for show, putting's for dough. And I really disagree with that fundamentally. I know we've all been there. We all know what that's like. We all know what it's like to struggle mentally with your putting game and then for your putting stroke to just not be there. That's an incredible stat. It's also a credit to the rest of her game because the fact of the matter is she pulled off a world title despite that. And I think it really shows her mental fortitude coming off a bad putt to just step up and throw a good shot. And she didn't allow one portion of her game to affect her entire game. And I think ultimately that's what ended up winning the title for her. But I think it's also an indicator of what I've been saying for as long as I've been playing golf. Putting does not win championships. It only wins championships when everybody's in the fairway, right? And when you're playing courses where everyone's not in the fairway, people in the fairway win. It's just impossible to win a tournament if you're off the fairway in a place where you can't be off the fairway. And I think sometimes people are talking about driving's for show, putting's for dough. The fact of the matter is driving's for dough. You're not going to have a winner on tour that's spraying drives. It just doesn't happen. And so I think that Evelina really took advantage of the fairways and really threw it well off the tee, and it ultimately scored her a world title. She was just scrappy and just constantly grinding, and I appreciated the fact that I saw her frustration and then I saw her recenter herself on the course. You could see that. You could see her recenter herself and then throw a great shot. Very difficult thing to do, and I thought that it was absolutely incredible the way that she put it together. Now, as you know from the introduction, my name is David Hobson. So I want to take a few moments and I just want to introduce myself and tell you guys a little bit about me. I grew up in the backwoods of North Carolina. I was playing baseball, riding four-wheelers, and just basically training to carry on the family legacy. Let's say that. For people that know my family is kind of a military family. All right, we've served in every conflict since the Revolutionary War, And it's just part of who we are and what we do. And so I spent my time hanging out with my three younger brothers, mom and dad, and we just had a really great time. And then I went to join the Army in 2014. And I'm medically retired shortly after in 2019. And so generally when I tell that story, people have questions. They want to know, like, hey, what happened? And so I'm just going to clear it up. I'll tell you guys kind of what's going on. To make a long story short, parachutes do not always open properly. And I had a main parachute failure and then a reserve parachute malfunction at the same time. And so I was very, very blessed to walk away from that. It was honestly one of the scariest things that's ever happened to me, but I'm very happy to be here, very happy to be hanging out with my family and doing this show for you guys. And so I ended up having to medically retire, underwent surgery, physical therapy, and ultimately didn't meet the physicality standards for the Army post-surgery and post-therapy. It's just a very long road back, and it took me, they wanted me to be back basically in 6 months, and it took me about 3 years to really recover from that to the point to where I could have a fairly normal existence, just from a mobility standpoint and not hurting every day and that sort of thing. And so it was really amazing to kind of see this journey. As I transitioned out of the Army, I went back to school. I went to Wake Forest University and got my master's degree. I have an MBA in organizational development. I went to school there fully intending on working for one of the major banks or consulting firms. That was the plan. I had contacts in those industries, in those companies, and they were going to hook me up, and we were going to have a great career there. And then in the second year of my MBA, I just realized, hey, I don't want this corner office job. It's not that I can't handle it. It's not that I can't do it, but it was just very unappealing to me. And I feel like that a big part of me, that soldier that was inside of me, really needed something to do, hadn't fully transitioned into civilian life. And so at that point, I started looking around for security contracting jobs. And I became an executive protection professional shortly after I graduated and worked alongside CEOs, politicians, and of course, professional athletes. And we traveled all over the United States and around the world with them. And it was just a really great time. I did that for 4 years after I got out of the Army. And it was a wonderful time. Met some awesome people. Had a great team that I worked with. It was just absolutely amazing. No complaints whatsoever. Got to see some great places. I played disc golf all over the world, which is really awesome. But as I was traveling, especially with these athletes, I got to see how really elite athletes operate up close and personal. I got to see their mentality, their work ethic, their training. Got to meet their coaches, their physios, all of the staff that support these athletes as well. And I just realized while I was traveling with them that a big part of me was left out on a baseball field somewhere. I played baseball my entire life. And I just realized that competitiveness, that involvement in sports was something that I very much missed. And I just realized that, hey, I want to find a way to re-enter the sports world. And so when I left Fort Bragg, North Carolina in 2019, I had no way of knowing that 2 years later, I was going to find a sport that would restore a lot of my physical limitations. It's done wonders for me. I can move my spine in ways that I hadn't moved my spine in years. It's just improved my overall health, and I really appreciate the game of disc golf for that. But it would also connect me with a wonderful community. And I'm going to tell you, man, the disc golf community is amazing. It's truly amazing. I have grown to love these people. And I do not say that word very often, but I genuinely have grown to love the disc golf community. It's just such a great community of people. They're always helping you out. They receive me with open arms. They gave me tips. They were patient with me. When I was spraying discs everywhere, people would invite me to come out and play anyway. They were just amazing people. And I thought, what an awesome community. And I realized that I wanted to give back. So that kind of brings me to the creation of Fight for Flight. I wanted to create a company that was going to serve an intricate purpose as a partner with the Pro Tour, but also give back to the disc golf community at the same time. That was my goal for Fight for Flight. And we're going to be providing editorial content which basically means that we're going to be providing a show that is talking about highlights, that is doing analytics, that we're going to be writing articles. We're going to be doing a lot of things to promote the game and grow the game of disc golf. Corporate sponsors want to see certain things out of professional sports organizations. And it's not a secret what they want to see. It's just building a team of people that are capable of producing that thing. So the corporate sponsorships will come in, so the money will grow, and so the players will be able to make a living. There's a lot of players who are making a very good living in disc golf. And there's a lot of other players on tour that are honestly just living event to event. And I totally understand that, and I want to do something for those players as well, because I would love for it to be to a point to where if you are a professional in the disc golf world, you are living comfortably. And I think that that's very important. That's a huge goal, I think, for the tour. So we will be providing editorial content during our weekly disc golf show and daily news on all of our social media platforms. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about what's going on in the disc golf world, reporting the news. We're going to be writing articles. We're going to be sharing content, videos, interviews, all of those things. It's going to help bring in sponsorships. It's going to bring in more money for the athletes. And so I'm really excited about seeing how that works. Also, if you are listening in, you like what you're seeing, if you're viewing, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's a big part of me being able to help. The more subscribers that we have, the more viewers that we have, the more I can go out into the corporate world and leverage for cash for not only our show, but also for the disc golf community. So we can do giveaways, so we can help people out that are struggling. I want to be able to do all of those things. We also have 2 programs on our website. One of them is called Fight for Vets, and the other one is called Flight for Fitness. Fight for Vets is very straightforward. It's a veterans program that I put together, and essentially what we are doing is we're going to be hosting veterans events, specifically for disabled veterans, but all veterans are welcome, and we're going to be hooking them up with resources with Veterans Affairs and a lot of other resources that they might need, whether that's physical or mental health, and it's going to be a really great time. So I want to be able to raise money for those causes. And then Flight for Fitness is a program for children to be able to go into schools and be able to introduce them to the game of disc golf at a very young age. I think ultimately that's how we're going to grow the game. We have to get the next generation involved. And so I'm really, really excited about seeing how that goes over the next, say, 10 years. It's going to be amazing. I think that when we're talking about growth, we have to consider the fact that nothing happens overnight. And I just want to assure you that we are in it for the long game. I'm going to be around for decades. We're going to do a great job of working hard and providing content for you guys in ways that you appreciate. We're going to be very audience focused. That's what we're going to be doing. And I'm very excited about seeing what happens. But if you do appreciate the content, please subscribe to us and give us a follow. I would very much appreciate it. And by the way, I just want to give a shout out to all of the people who subscribed to the YouTube channel before the first show came out. I did a promo video. A lot of you guys may have seen it. And the fact of the matter is, people subscribed before they even knew what the content was going to be. And I'm very thankful for that. You guys didn't have to do that. I really appreciate every single subscription, every single comment. It's just amazing to see the response, the overwhelming positive response of the disc golf community. So, fun fact about me, I'm a musician. I play a few instruments, and as a musician, I feel like that I just want to stay in the pocket. And for musicians, basically that just means stay in time, stay in rhythm. I want to be there at the right time, with the right notes, with the right melody, with the right rhythm, and that keeps the music going, right? It keeps the dance happening. And that's what I want to do. I feel like that's what I'm doing in life. I'm just trying to make sure that I'm in the right place at the right time. And sometimes things happen to you that are just outside of that. And you're like, man, this is so out of pocket, if you will. And we're experiencing that in the disc golf world this week. So New London Tech, there was an announcement that one of the disc golf courses used for the World Championship this week is going to undergo a redesign. The state of Virginia has issued a grant to Bedford County, and it's going to place a development in the area that the last 7 holes of the course occupy. And this is very bad news for New London Tech. It's also bad news for Paul McBeth, because this is something that he created. and now this is going to have to be recreated. And I know that that's very difficult as a creator. And so Paul McBeth actually spoke with ABC 13. We're going to actually watch his interview here momentarily. But the county is granting an additional 50 acres and a cell tower to Paul McBeth for the redesign. But let's check out what Paul had to say to ABC 13.
When you design a course, you want it to have a flow. You want it to start and finish hopefully in the same area, and seeing the land and kind of hearing where they're going to, put their new developments. It doesn't seem like the two pieces connect.
So Paul McBeth is a true professional. He's a pro on the course, he's pro off the course, and he's very good behind a microphone. And I thought that he did a good job of kind of laying out and expressing his frustration, but doing it in a very corporate way. He did a great job with that. Let's look at this language. When I listen to this interview, I listen to words that people say, because I think sometimes the language that people use actually indicate what they're going through a lot more than just stringing the sentences together. And so when you look at the words that he chose to use and his background, I feel like it kind of tells a story that he wasn't telling. And let's take a look at it. First of all, he was talking about flow, the course flow. And I thought this is very interesting because he's basically expressing concern around that. Like, hey, it's not going to flow the same anymore. This is going to be very different. I designed it to flow a certain way. Also, he was talking about layout continuity. And he was talking about, hey, the course needs to begin and end in the same place. And I think when he says it doesn't seem like the two pieces connect, to me, I've listened to executives speak a lot. When someone says something, it doesn't seem like the two pieces connect. That's corporate speak for this ain't going to work. And I feel the sadness of that. And I think the field of disc golfers also feel that same sadness about it, because we all understand that New London Tech is never going to be the same again. But I also think that this is a huge opportunity for the Disc Golf Pro Tour, PDGA, to get involved, maybe the Paul McBeth Foundation, to get involved and to create something new, create something different, and perhaps create something better. One of the things that I know about sports organizations is that their executives are extremely resilient. We saw this showcased during COVID, at least among the major sports. They found a way to move forward, right? It's not ideal. There was bubbles. There were people that had to be quarantined. There were tests. There were a lot of things going on. But professional sports organizations are very resilient. And I think that we're going to see some of that resilience from the PDGA, from DGPT, and from the field of disc golfers and the disc golf community. I think that someone's going to step up and we're going to get not only a good course, but we might get a better course. There's always an opportunity that we can do something better. And so I'm really excited about that, excited about seeing the executives figure it out. Okay, so let's talk about something that really, really bothers me. And I think it bothers a lot of athletes. Competitive athletes love a lot of things about their sports. Obviously they do, or they wouldn't be involved in the sports. But there is one thing that all professional athletes hate. And it is when non-athlete related factors and people influence the outcome of their success. I'm going to say that one more time. If there's one thing that all professional athletes hate, it is when non-athlete related factors and people influence the outcome of their success. We see this all the time in the NBA with referees. They're not calling fouls, or maybe they are calling fouls that are just kind of crazy, or they're being very selective when they apply a certain rule. We see it with umpires in baseball. Umpires change at bats by calling bad balls and strike calls, and then essentially reshape the entire at bat, putting the pitcher or the batter at a disadvantage. And I think that if most players step up and their opponent just beats them, they're fine with that. I genuinely think that. I think that people want their championships to mean something. They want their wins to mean something. And they want to feel that it was fair. They won fair and square. And I think sometimes it is very difficult because we can get to a point to where we are influencing the game so much that we're actually taking it out of the athlete's hands. And so I want to talk about a couple of instances that I have seen in the disc golf world. And so let's just kind of talk about that. Let's get into the course design. I watched the final day, and I couldn't believe that we essentially allowed one green, the 14th green, to influence the outcome of a tournament. It just blew my mind that we have a 50% grade on a green. Not only a 50% grade, but the more accurate you are, the more you get punished. Meaning there's rocks, there's sharp things, there's uneven things around the basket. You can throw it 40 feet away, that's fine. But don't throw it 6 inches away. If you're good, you get punished. If you're not good, then you're fine. And I think that's the wrong message to send to the field. I genuinely do. It's not that I don't think that everyone had the same opportunities. I know everyone was dealing with the same problem. But the fact of the matter is that there were plenty of players that threw good shots that ended up either rolling out of bounds or like Nicolas Antela rolled 100 feet away. That is a big deal. That is a really big deal because it reshapes the tournament. And we saw Holland. I don't want to say that she would have won had the 14th green been different, but she probably would have won. That's really, really interesting because it only takes one time. It only takes one hole where something happens that is outside of the athlete's control, and then it'll just take off. I can't believe we're getting to a green, and then we're putting, we're hitting literally pole in the middle. It's pushing the disc back out, and then it's rolling away 100 feet. I just feel like it's a very poor design. I would love to see the athletes decide by who is executing shots. I think that's the most important thing. Who is executing shots here? And I think the person that's executing the shots should win. I don't think it should be the person who almost executed his shots or her shots the best, but got lucky enough on a green. I just feel like that's a bad look for the tour. And I'm hoping that they'll do something about this because it's legitimately leaving a championship up to luck. And I feel like we need to take out all of the luck factors as much as possible. And let's just put it in the hands of the athletes and let them battle. Let them battle it out. They don't need anything wonky. They still have to throw drives. They still have to throw up shots. They still have to hit putts. Let them do that. I didn't like it. I thought that it kind of muddies the water when it comes to legacy and reputation. And I feel like that the tour can do a better job of kind of maintaining the integrity of that. Also, let's talk about spotters, okay? Spotters in disc golf are primarily unpaid volunteers. And I want to be very clear. I appreciate unpaid volunteers doing what they do. The sport would not be where it is without them. But I also think that allowing an unpaid volunteer and probably an untrained volunteer make decisions on spots that are going to decide a major championship or a tournament in general is a really, really bad idea. And we saw this kind of showcased. We don't actually have to go back very far. I watched this in real time, and it just jumped out to me when I saw it, and it was the first thing that came to mind when I put together this segment. Here's a great example from the 2023 Throw Pink Championship. Let's watch.
Oh boy. Oh boy. That is out of bounds.
I'm wondering if that even touched in bounds. Nate, it looked to me like it actually spiked down before the ropes.
I am 100% not throwing stones at unpaid volunteers, okay? But it's clear to me, and I think it's clear to everyone, that Holland's disc did not cross inbounds. Why is this important? It's just important to get it right. If you're in charge of being a ref, making a decision for players about spots, about things like that, the fact of the matter is that you want to get it right. It's very important to get it right for the integrity of the sport, for people's legacies. This is a really interesting thing because Kristen essentially is 2 shots back. Holland goes out of bounds, should have had to re-tee. Then she went out of bounds on the upshot. Now, would she have went out of bounds on the upshot if she would have re-teed? I have no idea. But one thing that I do know is that we're talking about a massive swing in momentum. We're talking about that putt that she hit at the end being very, very nervy. And Kristen is leading a charge. I just think we have to start getting this right. And I think that it's very easy because I saw it in real time on Disc Golf Network. And the broadcasters saw it as well. They were actually commenting on it. They were like, hey, I don't think that crossed 10 bounds. And I just know that if I can do that, and if the broadcast booth can do that, that we can have a ref reviewing the footage. We have the footage there, and especially for the lead card and the chase card. If we can do that for those people, I think that we should do it. I think maybe we can institute challenges like in tennis or football, or just have an automatic replay for certain shots. But I just think that we have to do better. I feel like the Pro Tour can do better than that, and they need somebody reviewing footage and making an executive decision that comes from the tour, not an unpaid volunteer. It's unfair to take unpaid volunteers and put them in a spot where they're deciding a tournament. I just think it's very unfair to them. We really need somebody who is a DGPT employee, referee, to make that call, and I think it's a really, really important step. I feel like it's too easy to get it right to get it wrong. Let's get it right. Okay, so let's talk about how you guys can win some gear. If you watch the promo, you know about our massive giveaway. I decided that we were going to give back to the disc golf community on day one. Disc golf has done so much for me. It's honestly done so many things that I can't even tell you guys about because they're very personal to me. But I just wanted to give back so badly. And so we put together a $1,500 disc golf gear list, and we're giving it away. And so we're giving away pound bags, an assortment of Discraft discs, some really nice ones. Also, we're giving away Disc Golf Network subscriptions. We're giving away Fight for Flight minis and bottles. And all you have to do is sign up on our website. The giveaway is completely free. All you have to do is go to our homepage at fightforflightpod.com. I will link the website below and the YouTube channel. It's going to give you a few prompts. Just follow the prompts. One of the things they'll ask you to do is subscribe to our YouTube channel. When you do complete all the prompts, that's all you have to do, and you're entered to win. We're actually going to be sharing the winners on our social media platforms. So we're on all the major social media platforms. Whatever your favorite one is, go check us out, give us a follow. We're going to be announcing the winners on September 23rd. That's all for today's episode of Fight for Flight. Thanks so much for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, check us out on Spotify, and connect with us on social media for daily updates and exclusive content throughout the week.